With Oklahoma debuting at number 6 in the USA Today Coaches Poll, there were two clear conclusions to draw right away. Number 1, coaches trust Lincoln Riley. Number 2, they don't trust the Big 12. College football coaches believe in Riley's ability to will the Sooners into a New Year's Six Bowl for the college football playoff for a 4th consecutive season, come hell, high water, or the worst pass defense in school history. See Mike Stoops, 2018. Because that's exactly what has happened. The Sooners have endured 3 different play callers in 3 years on the defense and have yet to field a top 25 defense in the Riley era. But boy, can OU light up a scoreboard. Even against the best Baylor team anyone had seen since the Art Briles era ended, the Sooners rallied from a 28-3 deficit on the road to hand Baylor their first loss of the season. In fact, OU is responsible for 2 of BU's 3 losses in 2019 with Riley's worst quarterback in 3 years. Now, for Riley, the quarterback position does not seem to matter. Following back-to-back Heisman winners in Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, a neutral observer at OU would be right to point out the obvious. The guy Riley picked to start at quarterback in 2019 was a backup in Tuscaloosa. At most programs, a change in quarterback signals a dip in production and wins. But the only dip Riley planned on was for his chips. Matter of fact, in 2019 at Big 12 Media Days, when he was asked if he expects the offense to take a dip, he studied himself, swallowed the puke in his throat, and then said, we don't plan on the offense dipping. The second part of that, talking about just what they're expecting on the defense, we definitely expect our defense to be better. I don't think there is any doubt. That's why we have recruited as hard as we have. That's why we made the changes on the coaching staff that we've made, as we feel like there is going to be positive results behind that. What we have seen and been able to see behind the scenes up to this point gets you encouraged and excited that both those things will happen. The expectations are very high on both sides of the ball, and we feel like we've got the right people in place to meet those expectations. If Riley sounds prophetic, that's because he was. The Sooners won 12 games for the 3rd year in a row and will enter his 4th season with a 36-6 record under his watch. But with that 4th season comes a 4th different starting quarterback. The law of averages says a dip is near. Most of TAB redshirt freshman Spencer Rattler for the job. If his performance in high school is any indicator, he'll fit nicely into the offense OU runs and might well set records running it against FCS and Big 12 opponents. However, that leads back to the second conclusion drawn from OU's being ranked 6th in the country. The rest of the college football leagues don't actually have much respect for the Big 12. Following OU in the coaches poll is Texas at number 14, Oklahoma State at number 16, and Iowa State at number 25. That's 4 Big 12 teams among the top 25. Meanwhile, the SEC boasts 4 teams in the top 10 alone. 14-team leagues versus 10-team leagues and all that jazz. But when the music stops, it's been everyone but the Big 12 in the national title game in the playoff era. And still, number 6 might be too high for a team with questions at will linebacker, both offensive tackle positions, wide receiver, and quarterback. But find the coach who is willing to bet against Riley in a 10-game schedule of teams he's known nothing but lording over from the moment he moved to Norman. The coaches poll is proof that it's a tough sell. The playoff, though, sounds like easy money. And that's how you need to look at these coaches polls. This is the same group of folks that ranked Nebraska inside the top 25 in the preseason last year after they had done nothing to show you that they were one of the 25 best teams in America, let alone one of the 75 best teams in America because they just weren't that damn good. Now, if you look at the coaches poll as it stands today, you see Clemson at number 1. They won a national title in the playoff era. You've seen Ohio State at number 2. They won a national title in the playoff era. You see Alabama at number 3, 5 in 10 years. You see Georgia at number 4. They've made the national championship game. You see LSU at number 5, the defending national champions, even as they lost more than perhaps any other Power 5 team in the country in returning production. Matter of fact, you're going to see more faces at LSU this year than an integrated high school. And then at number 6, Oklahoma, followed by Penn State, Florida, Oregon, and Notre Dame to round out the top 10. Now, as we look further at polls and we take a look at Lindy's a little bit later on, which came out before we went to conference-only schedules and before noted future first-round draft picks like Rondale Moore, Micah Parsons, Rashad Bateman, and Greg Rousseau all opted out. We're also going to take a look at the AP poll when it comes out, which is much more indicative of what college football actually should look like when we're talking about ranking the teams. And as we try to talk about that, and we talk about how these conference-only schedules are going to shape what college football strength of schedule actually means to so many, I want to continue to hammer this point. Oklahoma has not made it through a regular season without a loss coming in October in over 10 years. And Oklahoma has not put together an undefeated season in 20. Now, add to that, Oklahoma will not face what any of us see right now as a top 5 team unless it makes the college football playoff. And there are more folks who do not want to see that happen now than ever. And can you blame them? How many more bites at the apple can you be expected to be allowed if every time you go bobbing, you end up drowning? Nobody wants to see you suffer. Nobody wants to see you struggle. We just want to see you be competitive against the best in the country. And the last time I checked, that's where Oklahoma expects to be. You can't keep saying there's only one when there's really only one. Can't seem to make a national championship game, let alone win a national championship in modern college football.